everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Orange Zeppelin, and it is the beginning of September, and I owe you guys a very big update because we are in Artcave 2.0. We've actually been in Artcave 2.0 since about the beginning of July, but there's been a lot going on. I've been very busy. So I haven't really gotten around to the whole studio tour, and I also wanted to live in it for a little bit. I want to show you guys the studio when a lot is going on, which is right now, basically. So I do have some project talk to do, but first things first, I'm going to show you around. So the most major change that I have going on is that my desk has been moved from this side of the room over here, and this has been so far a way better setup. I've got basically a whole horseshoe shape of space that is at my disposal, having my desk here and then my bed sticking straight out, because I very often will use my bed as a second desk, which is why I've already got things starting to pile up on it. This basically gives me my side desk space right next to my main desk, and as you can see, I've got some, I'm casting a shadow here. Let's scoot over here. I've got some beautiful art of my boy Cheese Daddy himself, Shea Gorath. I've got a display for my tablet, which you can see my script right there, and then I've also added new shelves. My old shelf was, you see how this is a straight line? It wasn't a straight line. It was more like that, which is kind of a problem. But I've got more shelving here. A lot more space. I can put all the things that I need and some things that I don't up here. I have got, actually, let's talk about this very carefully. This is a new teacup that I just got. Is from a company called Royal Halsey. I am very obsessed with their designs. It did unfortunately arrive to me chipped, so I did do a kintsugi style repair on that. It wasn't the fault of the seller. It was definitely the postal workers transporting it by drop kicking it to me. I've got some beautiful artwork that I have done. Actually have all of my zines and my Shea Gorath comic up here, as well as a few comics that I am gonna do some comic reviews of in the future. I'm very excited to do those. Also, this way, my ring light that I use for filming, this also doubles as a reading light at night. This shelf kind of looks like a bomb went off, but this has been very nice to have a theoretically open shelf that I can put my paints on. I've got some inks for writing, and I did have a cork board back there before. Now it's a lot more useful, and I'm very happy to say I did find a storage solution for all of my alcohol markers, because those were spread out over a couple different places in my room. So having them all together has been a lot more convenient, and then I have a much better place for my laptop. I moved my gaming stuff, my gaming collectibles, up a shelf. I feel like it's a nicer way to display things. And then my canvases are kind of just a pile up top. Remind me to not buy any more canvases. Oh wait, I already failed at that, didn't I? Well, in my defense, this one is a cool shape and I know exactly what I'm going to paint on it. I also always keep whatever beverages I have on hand in this general area. Usually I put my coffee right here, so it's a little bit of a flatter, or a little more space. So now my beverages are more conveniently located with my desk. I like that. My music shelf, that is pretty much the same. My altar, I don't think I actually showed you guys this in my last studio tour. My Lord Kernunos is with us. He is distributing blessings upon my marshmallow Rice Krispie tree. This is gonna show up in a upcoming video. Let's take a little peek down below before I continue further to the side. I've got these are pretty much all sketchbooks that I've got in this container, and then if you can see in the in the darkness. I got my colored pencils. I've got polymer clay stuff out. Basically, I pulled all of the art stuff that was in my closet out, so they're much more easily accessible. I've got all my journaling supplies in this box, not organized. It's kind of a disaster. And then my watercolor stuff, my watercolor and gouache I have in that kind of tackle style box. I try to keep all my media in their own categories and their own nice organizational systems. So it seems like Crayola products, the organization system is just on the floor indiscriminately. And then I keep my oil paint in that box right there. I'm glad that I have a lot more of a hidden spot for my trash can. There's been a few times on Twitter, where somebody's done like post a picture of your workspace, and I post a picture and I realized there was nothing on my desk that was visible, but you could see my trash can and there were like 5 Haagen-Dazs ice cream wrappers in there. Now moving back along this way, I do have a painting on my easel right now that I'm not 100% sure I can show you without YouTube getting mad at me, but I am very happy that I can have my easel out all the time, and I'm not going to be tripping on it. I can back up here and I can show you, while I don't have a lot of floor space, I do like that I technically have more space to walk. I can pace around in this nice little U shape around my bed. Sometimes when I'm working on art, I need to get up and pace around. I gotta move. Sometimes you're just listening to a good song and you gotta get up and jam. So acrylic is kind of the category that I'm gonna be focusing on next. That's why I have it all kind of awkwardly spread out. But my shelves, basically all my shelves, are so much more accessible now. I don't have the bottommost shelves blocked off the way they were before. Looking back in this direction, the way I had my bed set up was right against those shelves. So basically, those 2 bottom shelves, I couldn't reach them without just moving my whole bed out of the way. So actually moving the bed over here has opened up a lot of space. I actually used to have a nightstand right there that was, I know I showed that off in the previous studio tour. I got rid of that because it took up too much damn space. And this thing right here, oh, here's a spoiler for an upcoming comic review. My man, my dude, Rob Sachetto, I just got this yesterday, so I am definitely going to be showcasing this. I've got my beautiful, beautiful autographed photo of Wes Johnson. He has acknowledged me as his creepiest fangirl. I'm set up right here so he can watch me while I sleep with his comforting, gentle gaze. I keep all of my incense and my lighters for candle and incense lighting purposes in this old ammunition box. Well, some of my incense is just a tiny bit too long to fit, but as long as I've got it, I have it sticking out a little bit. It is all good. I need military strength to contain the smell of patchouli. I keep my machete by my bed in case the clowns come at night. And then basically the whole crux of why the new Artcave organization was able to work is I moved things out of my closet and I was able to move the bulky things back in, things that I don't use often. I got my whole shoe rack in there. Anything like my light box has always been in here, and other assorted large art things. I like to have my backpacks hanging up in my closet so they don't take up too much space. I got my kilt, I got all my important things. Actually rehung this tiger painting exactly where it was before, since that is a very good spot for it. And this is one of the more fun things I decided to do. I'd been kind of stewing on the idea for a while, but I painted my door with chalkboard paint. And so I got some song lyrics going on here. This is kind of my artist statement, my credo as an artist. Wait a minute, what's that right there? I rehung my commemorative plaques from back when I was in student government in college. I was on the executive cabinet as the publicity director. I was in charge of our propaganda. Mostly it was just making sure the students knew when we were gonna do things like give away free pie or something. This is a complete train wreck, but there's a method to my madness. Mostly it's just madness, but I do have a method. I made these magnets, so I had some of this strip of magnet, basically, and I have wood burned these pieces of wood. I accidentally almost erased that. I've got these wood burned pieces of wood to organize whatever train wreck is happening on my whiteboard. For anything that's labeled as now, it's basically this is happening, and this is also what this magnet corresponds to. It's like, yes, this is what I'm working on at the present moment, or I've got something started. Later is anything that's kind of next on the list. In this case, this is 2 acrylic paintings, one of which I'm probably gonna do a video about. So you guys are gonna see that in the future. And then much later is kind of things where I've got an idea, but I can't work on it right now. And then comics, of course. I'm very excited to talk about this, and I will talk about it later in the video. This comic is finished, and the cover is the next plan, and that is the first comic that I'm doing as an actual paid job, so I'm super excited about that. There's a small handful of things that are going to be coming around the corner eventually, once I get a little more time. And then I've got a little section for videos. We've got Studio Tour right there, what you're watching right now. This right here in purple, I'm going to be filming that one tomorrow, and that will be a very interesting video. And as a teaser to something coming up in the future, 12 Days of Comicsmas will be happening again this year, and I'm going to make it even bigger and better. So stay tuned for that. I've got this old picture of me right there, and I like it because it looks like I'm hosting a YouTube video, maybe complaining about the quality of the paint. I don't know. Would I have been complaining about that paint? I don't know. Crayola doesn't have bad watercolors. I was probably like, hey, this is good stuff right here. I have a lot of my other art supplies in this same organizer that you guys saw in my previous video. It's a little more tidy now. I mean, I use the term tidy loosely. What do I have? I got all my chalk in here, all my graphite stuff, my vast hoard of pencils, got some charcoal. A lot of this is just painting supplies and some various inks, watercolor stuff. And then these are all little sketchbooks or just like little tiny paper pads that were better set up in there. I was able to move my graphic novel and manga bookshelf out of the corner. That's going to be in the background of my videos now. I think that'll look very cool. And I did also, I'm pretty sure between now and that last studio tour I did, I'm pretty sure this wasn't painted back then. So I did do, I hope you guys can't tell how bad of a job the painting was. I tried to use spray paint, and then I actually ran out about halfway through the process. And then I tried to do some kind of ombre thing. Just don't look too close at the paint job. And also, I did use spray paint. Oh, there's Eddie. I did use spray paint on the side as well. And this was back when it was in the corner. So when it was in the corner, you can see one side of it. So there is an unpainted side. Let me move my socks. There we go. There's Leisure Suit Larry, among other things. There is an unpainted side entirely. Also, I got these cool new pepper lights. My grandma brought them for me. A couple of my prop swords. I want to hang some hooks on the walls so I can get my other swords hung up. And then I got this big old bronze piece I made in my bronze casting class from college. And then the dresser itself isn't super exciting. I'm probably going to paint it so it matches this shelf, but because it is smaller, it's a lot less bulky. That's kind of how I was able to get everything rearranged, and I was able to get Artcave 2.0 to work properly. Looping back around, here's some more of my bookshelves that you might not have gotten a look at the first time. I've still got some bare wall, so I will be putting some new art up before too tremendously long. That's actually what this bad boy is gonna be. I had a plan initially for doing this vertical, because you can... Let's see if I trip on something trying to get back here. Because I could totally hang it in that little spot, but now I'm thinking I might actually go horizontal, like its original incarnation. This was a painting of David Lee Roth that I ended up not liking. It was a really good concept. It was like big horizontal painting of him like in his full jump. It was such a good idea, and then it looked absolutely terrible. I mean, maybe it wasn't that bad, but I didn't like it, so I'm going to put something completely different on it. And this is the painting I will probably do a video on, even. Because sometimes it takes me a really long time to paint things, especially this large, so if I'm doing it for a video and I have to do footage, that's going to light a fire under my ass and I'll paint it faster. Whatever I do end up painting, though, I think it's going to look really good on this wall color, because the main reason I went with a more neutral wall color, it's not completely white. The color was actually called Cappuccino Foam, which is partly why I picked that, me and my cappuccino enthusiasm, is I wanted it to be a good background for my art, because I tend to do really bright colors, lots of strong contrast. Having a more neutral wall color, I think, works well for that. These plushies actually all came from the anime shop where I work. I am a fan of Karami. She's very cute. And this one, I brought this one home because she had a little rip on her neck that I had a hard time repairing. I think I've actually got it, you can kind of see, got it fixed up. She had a rip on her foot. You can kind of see. She actually had several rips. I've been bringing home the damaged plushies and getting them sewn back up. Which is actually by this guy right here. I know he looks like Stitch. We're not going to call him Stitch because he's very much a bootleg. We're going to call him a legally distinct blue alien character. And his malfunction had to do with his straps. Occasionally these like poofy character backpacks, let's see, occasionally they'll get a hook that just comes broken. It'll split right around here. And so what I did is I took one of the hooks that came off of this one and I just ripped the seams out. Ripped the seam off of this strap also, and I sewed the good hook back in. So our legally distinct blue alien character friend will be going back to the shop this weekend to a very happy kid. And that is a good segue into the next part of the video, and that is how things are going at the shop. So summer is officially over for us. Our area is very much a tourist-based economy, so when the kids go back to school, less people are on vacation. It gets very, very quiet around here. There's just tumbleweeds rolling down the street. We're not quite at that point yet, but we're getting there very soon. We did a lot of restocking before Labor Day weekend, because that was a pretty crazy weekend for us, and the goal going forward is just to keep the shop looking as nice and full as we can, even during our off season. Last winter we had more of a strategy of being a bit more bare bones in the shop, but we're changing it this time around. We're just going to keep everything really full all year round, and I think that's a really good idea, because when the shop is just looking full with lots of cool stuff, people are just going to buy more, and when people buy more, we can get more cool stuff in, just progressively cooler things. We've been open for over a full year now, and I've been pretty excited to see how much things are changing, getting better and better stuff in all the time, so it is very fun to watch. And I think we're gonna do really well in the holiday season. Because just because it's September and we haven't even had Halloween yet, people are already thinking about Christmas, which for the Halloween enthusiasts, that might be a little annoying, but for the retail world, that's actually pretty beneficial for us. Also, just the other day, my town celebrated the 60th anniversary of its incorporation, and we had a little parade to celebrate, and the parade route went right in front of the shop, so a lot of people did see our location. And that's also going to be really helpful if we've got locals who know where we are. If they do another parade in the future, I want to get like silly otter costume and maybe get back into skateboarding and just skate down the road in the otter costume with a store sign. I think that would be fun. But on the slow days at work, I've been able to bring in my new tablet and I've been able to work on digital coloring, which has been everything that I'm doing lately. I just finished coloring for a comic project, the one I mentioned earlier in the video that I'm super excited to talk about. I can't quite talk about it yet, but very, very soon I'll be able to announce exactly what that project is. The very last stage of the process is going to be the comic cover, so that is going to be next on my list. That is coming up very soon. I did take a few breaks here and there to work on some other projects. I don't have any footage of those, so I'm just going to share a time lapse of my coloring process on one of these pages. I should note that I'm very much self-taught when it comes to digital coloring, so what I'm doing might be, I guess, wrong by some people's standards. I don't know. If you're watching this and you're thinking, girl, what are you doing? I'm sorry, I don't know. Seems to work though. But I did take some breaks to work on painting. Acrylic is what I want to dive into next. I did, somewhere in there, I did a portrait of my Skyrim character. That was actually markers and colored pencil. And then, as you saw in the tour, I am finishing up on a portrait of Sheogorath. That one is also markers and colored pencil. I'm going to have that posted very soon. The painting that I didn't really show in the tour is a study of a Simon Bisley piece, specifically a page from the comic Melting Pot. That one's been interesting. It's pretty much just me experimenting and messing around. I actually started it several months ago, and I just used oil pastels. Or recently going on top with acrylic. I actually want to work with oil pastels also, work with those again more, just try to crack the code on them, but that might be an adventure for a future video. So, on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I will have some comic reviews coming up in addition to what I hope will be a pretty exciting October video, and I got that special video that I'm going to start filming tomorrow. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a great time making art.